Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Musu Gaming here, and today we're back with another episode of Unofficial Commander Spotlight featuring Saladin, who is a historic rival of Richard the First. Now, Saladin, as a historic rival of Richard the First, brings a lot of utility to the field that will counter Richard and many other healing commanders on the field. Now, let's go ahead and jump right into the skill set and see why that's the case. So Saladin's first skill, which is also an expertise skill, Praise the Creator, with rage requirement of 1000, deals 1700 damage factor and reduce the march speed as well as healing by 50% for the next 5 seconds. So this healing reduction actually works really well when you're actually attacking a March like Richard, which heals a lot with his active skill. So hence, Saladin becomes a very strong counter for healing March as well as healing Garrison, such as Richard or Wu Zetian. Now his second skill, Gulnams, which I'm pretty sure I actually pronounced that wrong, gives you 20% attack, 20% defense, as well as 5% march speed. Pretty strong skill. Let's go ahead and move on. His third skill, Bond of Fate, which gives him 30% skill damage reduction as well as 20% counterattack damage reduction, makes him very versatile when you're actually attacking any troops on the field. So let's say, for example, if you're about to hit Charles Martel, which has a lot of counterattack damage buff, you're less punished if you're actually using Saladin as one of your commanders. So this makes him pretty strong counter to both Richard and Charles Martel, which is one of the most tankiest and annoying commanders, as well as commander pairing on the field in KVK2. Now, let's go ahead and move on to his fourth skill, which is Generosity. When attacking a city, the commander's troop deals 15% more damage to the city's garrison, but it cannot plunder the city's resources. So this is a skill that is dedicated to attacking a city. Unfortunately, in Rise of Kingdoms, there's not that many places that you can actually use this skills. Unfortunately, this does not apply to any garrison rallying as such, so that a lot of people actually happen to skip this skill and go ahead and use Saladin as 5551, although expertise in Saladin does give him additional 300 damage factor as well as 10% healing reduction and 20% march speed debuff for the 5 seconds after his active skill. Now, his skill set again is designed to actually counter his historic rival Richard, as he does a lot of healing, does a lot more counterattack damage to whoever is targeting him. So he is a definite counter to a lot of infantry marches on the field in KVK2. Now, since we've taken a look at his skill set, let's just go in and find out where you can actually get Saladin. So Saladin is one of the few commanders that you can actually acquire from Mighty's Governor event in KVK2. I believe you can actually acquire Saladin from the beginning of KVK2, which will allow you to use him for the entirety of KVK2. And being a Mighty's Governor commander does give you a lot more accessibility than being a Wheel of Fortune commander, because if you're one of the top most active governors in your kingdom, you'll be able to get a lot of sculptures for Saladin for free from the Mighty's Governor event. Now, let's go ahead and move on to his museum buffs. So Saladin actually have a couple museum buffs that he can use when he's on the Season of Conquest. I believe I have to scroll down all the way to the right, as I have I not unlocked Saladin's? That is very, there you go. So Saladin's museum buff is going to give him 10% attack, 10% march speed. Now, as relics for Saladin levels up over time, this might become a little more useful, but then again, as of February of 2025, his relics are very minimal, and although it does give him the much needed march speed, Saladin's relic does not really give him the buff that he needs to be relevant in Season of Conquest. Hence, the relic is not really recommended for most players. Now, we've taken a look at how to get Saladin as well as his museum buff. Let's go ahead and move on to Tier Maker to find out what might be the best pairing for Saladin in KVK2 and onward. Now, on the Tier Maker, I'm going to actually use Saladin right here. It's like fixed. On the field, I think the best combo for Saladin is actually Isongge, because Isongge is one of the few commanders that doesn't have any march speed as well as tankiness when you're on the field. But then again, Saladin can actually compensate for a lot of that by having the little bit of march speed. Being a cavalry commander also give you extra march speed as well. And also he has skill damage reduction that he can actually reduce the damage that he can intake and survive more to deal maximum damage with Isongge. Now, when you're actually rallying something, I believe using Khan is technically the best combo that you can have, as Khan's damage to single target damage is actually a lot better than Isongge or Minamoto. But if you only have Minamoto and don't have Khan, Minamoto is also a very good option for you to consider, whether on the field or on the rally. Now those are the best pairing that I think you can use Saladin with in KVK2. Unfortunately, his Saladin is actually not usable in Season of Conquest onward. So unless you actually don't have enough commanders in Season of Conquest for cavalry, I wouldn't recommend that you use Saladin for Season of Conquest. Now let's go ahead and move right on to the final rating for Saladin, as well as some commentary for Saladin for all the for the unofficial Commander Spotlight. Now for final rating of Saladin, I will give Saladin a 3.5 star. With comment, best, great field counter to infantry, but lacks usages in Season of Conquest. Again, he's not really that useful in Season of Conquest. He's actually pretty strong against Richard I as well as Charles Martel, I think, in my opinion, because of that counterattack damage taken reduction as well as skill damage taken reduction. But unfortunately, during the KVK2, you will also have to face something like Alexander the Great, which is also very, very powerful commander that a lot of infantry users will be loving to spam on. And they're actually, Alexander the Great is a commander that is at the power level that can be even used in Season of Conquest. So when compared to Alexander the Great, Saladin wouldn't be able to outperform in KVK Season 2. But then again, he's still a great commander for you to actually acquire if you're getting first place, second place in my Governor event for KVK Season 2, because cavalry doesn't really have that many alternatives options. Alright, hopefully you enjoyed this video and found this video helpful. If you did, please go ahead and drop a like as well as subscribe to the video if you can. And if you have any questions, comments about Saladin, please go ahead and leave it down below. And as always, I'll see you on the next video.